Today's dish is rosemary lamb, and I'm going to walk you through the steps so that you can make a beautiful, delicious dish like this. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is pull back the netting so that you can get to the fat, and then take a knife, do the best you can, and get off the excess. And once you've done that, you take and you roll it back up. Okay? And you can't be fussy about every single piece of fat because you can cut that off later when you take it out of the oven. But whatever you can get to, like this piece right here, just cut it off, and it will make it a lot easier in the long run. Good, that was a good chunk right there. So you take, wrap the netting back up, and you're ready for the next step. So now I'm going to take a chunk of garlic and cut 3 slivers. Be very careful. If you want, you can freeze the garlic, and it's a little bit easier to cut them. Now, what you do is you take one of the legs of lamb and you cut right into the meat in 3 different areas. And then you press the pieces of garlic right down in to the meat. And if you noticed, this one goes down in well, that one, this needs to be a little bit deeper. So make sure it goes right in. This is the last one, so do your cuts deep, and if it's easier, you can take and do it immediately so you know where you made the slit. And this one, and make sure you press it down and distribute it equally on the leg of lamb, and do this the same way. That's the first step. Now to season each one, first apply the olive oil. Next, add the rosemary. And last, a little bit of salt. Now before you put it in the oven, 400 degrees for an hour and 15 minutes, make sure that you press the seasonings into the meat, like so. Now you're all set. Now, while the rosemary lamb is baking for an hour, I'm just going to show you a little prep. I took, these are diced tomatoes, and they're peeled, and then these are whole tomatoes, and I am going to cut them, but the most important thing is I prefer to remove the seeds from the insides of whole tomatoes. See that? I prefer to do that because some people are sensitive to the seeds. So I take them out and shake them down, as you see, and then I dice them and, you know, take them off as best I can, but get rid of most of them and prepare the tomatoes. And I'll be putting these vegetables around the lamb once the hour is up. So as you see, either whole plum tomatoes, they're peeled already, and also the diced tomatoes, and they too are peeled. And just pick out, if you can, just take your finger and just slide it along and get as many of the seeds out as you can. And then also take the stems off on either end, like so. And then just dice it up as best as you can. There. And that is the first prep. I have here a cup, actually 2 cups of onions, and I want to have 2.5. So I just wanted to show you it's between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. And just make big round slivers of onions. And dig your nails into the onion to have good support. Now this should make it, that's 2 cups, and this should make it to 2.5. Good. Now I have 3 potatoes, Idaho potatoes. I just want to show you how I cut them into 3 strips and then 1 inch. There you go. 1 inch cubed Idaho potatoes. This is the last step. It's 1 pound of frozen green beans. If you choose, you can also get fresh beans, and I'm cooking them up, and they too will be added to the vegetable mix around the lamb. The first hour and 15 minutes is up, and it looks brown on the outside, but it still isn't done yet. It needs another good hour. And we have to add the veggies. Add piles of potatoes, and I'm going to do it in 4 different areas. And then after I add the potatoes, I'll put the string beans on top. and you're making little piles. Okay, so that's the first step. Now I'm going to drizzle a cup of chicken broth over all. And this should shrivel down once it's covered with the foil. But you want to get as much as you can into the pan. Then I put the tomatoes on top. Just a little bit of salt, over the veggies, and a little bit of garlic powder, just a half a teaspoon. Now I'm going to take and cover this real tight. Put it back in the oven for another hour and 10 minutes, and then I'll check it with a meat thermometer, and it probably will be medium, and I'll have to heat it a little longer because I like it closer to well done. But we're on the road to finishing off this wonderful meal. It's easier taking the vegetables out first and put them around the perimeter, and then it'll be okay to take one of the lambs out and begin the cutting process. So that's a good beginning. You can take out the garlic, unless somebody likes eating cooked garlic. You can share that with them. I just want to show you how we have a plate and extra veggies and more lamb just from one leg of lamb, and then here are the other two, and they need to be cut, and I'm going to package them away and use them for the holiday. This recipe is basically very easy. It takes a lot of time to just get the veggies prepared, but once everything is put together, it comes out wonderful. And I hope you'll try it during the spring holiday seasons of Easter and Passover. Otherwise, it's good any time of the year. So here again, the leg of lamb is a beautiful dish for you to try. Thank you. See you soon.